Hi, everybody. In today's episode, we are inaugurating one more new segment of the Tarot Podcast. This one is called Try This at Home. Here, I'm going to offer you tarot exercises or practices or spreads that you can try at your leisure as you get to know and love your cards. The idea here is that you can build your own relationship with tarot and see where that adventure takes you. As you do, I hope you'll let me know how it's going, which you can do on Discord if you're a Patreon member, or you can use the contact form at thetarotpodcast.com. Today, we're going to talk about a tarot practice which I personally think is foundational to reading tarot. Here in the tarot community, we call it Card of the Day. There are so many reasons you might want to draw a card of the day, but I'm going to share with you just a few of mine. First and foremost, I think that learning to read tarot is like learning to read a language of 78 images that describe everything in life. Some of those images are pretty easy to interpret. Like if you're going on a first date, it is not hard to see that in the Two of Cups. Or maybe you've just gotten some awful news that hits you like a bolt from the blue. That is easy to find in tarot too. I'm looking at you, Tower card. But what about the ordinary, sort of mundane things that generally make up the fabric of our lives? What does dinner with your in laws look like in tarot? What does it look like when you have a deadline looming at work? What does a snow day look like? Drawing a card of the day helps you understand the metaphorical language of tarot, the way each of these cards can mean many, many different things. So much so that they can describe pretty much anything that might happen to a person, from tying your shoelace to falling in love. Another reason to draw a card of the day is that if you love tarot, you're going to want to see those cards all the time. And you can't do like a whole reading for yourself every single day. If you try, you're going to end up asking tarot things like whether you should wear short sleeves or long sleeves, or you're going to end up asking again whether they like you. That way lies madness, my friends. Don't do it. Just draw one card or two, and that will give you plenty to think about every day. So, how do you draw a card of the day? Well, it's pretty simple. I recommend you do it in the morning, like as part of your morning routine. You take a shower, you brush your teeth, you draw your card. Maybe while you're having your first cup of coffee. Wherever you can fit it in, try to take a moment to clear your mind and take a deep breath. If you're into ritual, you can light a candle or something like that. But the most important thing is that you do it, so make it as easy for yourself as you possibly can. Shuffle the cards any way you like. There is no wrong way to shuffle. Some people riffle shuffle like it's a playing card deck. Now, if you do that, you might want to do them long sides together because a tarot deck is kind of big and trying to shuffle them with the short sides together is awkward. Some people do what's called an overhand shuffle, which you can look up if you're not familiar how to do that. Personally, I like to kind of spread them all out and scramble them around, and that is called washing. If you do that, some of the cards do end up upside down. And we will talk about that in a future episode. Don't let that bother you. If you don't like reversals, you can always just turn the card right side up. So, You're going to draw just one or maybe two cards. How do you choose? Well, again, there's no wrong way. Maybe you get a hunch or a feeling when to stop shuffling. Maybe you like to cut the deck a special number of times. But for me, the card I want usually feels kind of light and electric. If you don't get any kind of special feeling or, favorite way to choose, don't worry about that. You won't get the wrong card. You will get the card you were meant to draw no matter how you do it. Okay, now you've got your card. And remember, there are no good cards or bad cards. What do we do with this card of the day? Well, first of all, you might want to take a picture of it with your phone so you remember what you got. You could even set the picture as the wallpaper on your phone if you want, or you could just keep it in your head. Over the course of the day, many things will probably happen because I know you're a busy person. But there will also be moments where things slow down and you're no longer charging through your day like a Marvel superhero. Maybe you're eating your lunch and staring out the window, wondering how you ended up in this place doing whatever it is you do. Maybe you're upset about something that came up, or you're confused, or maybe you're just kind of buffering. Now, these are the perfect moments to think back to your card of the day. Does that card have any advice for this situation? Does it reflect how you've been feeling? Does it offer like an alternate perspective, maybe? See if you can make any kind of connection at all between what's happening in the image and what's happening in your life. I think you'll find that having that card to reflect on is a real gift as you go about your day. Say you just got a phone call that your friend is unexpectedly coming into town for a visit, and now you gotta adjust your plans. You look back at your card of the day, which happened to be, say, the Eight of Cups. Maybe that Eight of Cups with the walking stick and the traveling cape, maybe that's your friend. And that would be enough of a synchronicity right there. But maybe also, this friend and you have like a long history and a bunch of emotional ups and downs in the friendship. And maybe you're ready to put all that behind you. If that's the case, that is interesting because that is also part of the mythos surrounding the Eight of Cups as well. Because tarot likes to kind of talk in layers. It'll show you one thing and it'll also talk to you about what's going on in your mood or in your emotion as well, and a whole lot of other things, which we are about to talk about. So, as you become more familiar with tarot, you're going to find more and more ways to make these connections, more and more layers to each card. And you'll start to pick up on all these different layers that a card can take on. At first, you're mostly going to notice the apparent mood of the card and whether it matches your mood and how you're feeling. Like maybe you got the 10 of Wands and you feel like you're carrying a lot of responsibilities. Okay, good. The cards are seeing you and they're talking to you, and that's great. But it's just the beginning. The next thing you might notice is that there is a visual or literal resemblance between what's happening in the card and what's happening around you. So, like, say you drew the moon card and you're out walking with your dogs and suddenly they start barking. Are they afraid? Are they confused? Are they excited? You don't know, but it gets your attention and you realize that you have entered this realm of instinct that is represented by that moon card. Here's another example. You might be having a glass of wine with your girlfriends after work, and you suddenly notice, hey, oh, we're toasting each other, just like in the Three of Cups. And here's the thing about the number cards of the tarot in particular, they really like to count. That's something that I've always noticed. Like maybe you get the Eight of Pentacles and you see a plate with 8 cookies on it. Oh no, what do we do? There are cookies. I don't know about you, but I am like, I cannot resist a cookie. I call pentacles round carbs because when I get pentacle cards, I always see cookies and pancakes and donuts and things. It's a thing. Or maybe you got the Five of Wands, and in that meeting that you had at work, there are 5 people having some kind of lively debate. So just start looking for things to count as you're going about your day, and I bet you'll be surprised what you might find. Sometimes you're going to find that the card you drew tells you something about what's happening for other people, somebody else, not you. So, like maybe your son has a lacrosse tournament, which is now dominating the entire household, and he is showing up in your Seven of Wands card that you drew this morning. Or maybe you drew the Empress and you learned that your cousin is pregnant. The thing is that from Tarot's point of view, you are not just some isolated particle drifting through outer space. You are more than just yourself. You are the center of a glittering web of people and events and thoughts and feelings, all of which Tarot can perceive as clearly as you can see the flowers and the weeds, too, growing in your front yard. And tarot is going to point out things in that constellation of connections that are present even when you are ignoring them. In fact, not only is tarot sometimes going to comment on other people in your life who are not you, sometimes it's going to comment on things you only just thought about. Like it's going to comment on the content you consume, whether that is music, or books, or TV, or podcasts just like this one. Maybe, in fact, maybe you listen to this episode and you happen to draw the Wheel of Fortune because, at least in my experience, tarot likes to use that card to talk about itself. And because we live in a nonstop barrage of headlines that are just bananas, tarot is definitely going to talk to you about the news and how you feel about it. As you continue to study tarot and draw your card of the day, you might get interested in different systems of correspondences. That's what we call them, correspondences that help you expand the reach of each card. For example, there's a whole astrological infrastructure that goes with tarot, and you might find that you are intrigued by the way the things you know about the zodiac sign of Scorpio turn out to have something to do with the death card. Or you might simply discover your own personal synchronicities, like the way it always seems to rain when you draw the Three of Swords. Now that you know how to start your card of the day practice, we need to talk about a phenomenon that comes up for a lot of us, and that is tarot anxiety. There are some cards in the deck that are going to make you feel a certain way, at least in the beginning. I'm talking about the Tower card, maybe the Devil and the Death cards, the Ten of Swords, and probably the Nine of Swords, and maybe a couple of others, depending on your temperament. What if you're so scared of these cards that you don't want to even risk drawing a card at the start of the day? That is a reasonable fear. But I'm going to offer you some thoughts about that which I hope will make you feel a little less anxious. Here's my first point. Remember what I said in episode 2 about value neutrality? It's okay if you don't. What I mean by that is that no tarot card, even the Tower, is inherently good or bad. The cards are like the weather. Like sometimes it's a thunderstorm and sometimes it's blue skies as far as you can see. Both are part of our world, both are essential. How you react to a thunderstorm, however, is up to you. You could be afraid or you could be excited. You can plan around it or you can go ahead and do whatever you were going to do anyway. Tarot is the same way. Point number 2. You don't have to think about your cards as a prediction or a forecast of what's going to happen, even though that's one of the reasons we like using tarot cards because we like to glimpse the future. You don't have to use them that way, is what I'm telling you. You can think of them as an invitation to observe, like a game or a scavenger hunt. Except instead of where's Waldo, it's where's the King of Wands today? What you're doing is hunting for meanings and patterns, like you do when you're reading a mystery. And that's not really scary at all, right? Number 3. Here's a thing you can do about your tarot anxiety that is more on the creative side. So, tarot cards are metaphors, which means that you can express them in any number of different ways. Suppose you get the 10 of swords. Ah! Okay, what do we have here? 10 swords. Well, you can do what I do and go buy 10 sewing needles, tiny little swords at the craft store. And then while you're sitting in your car in the parking lot, you can you can hold them in your hand and you say, "The requirements have been fulfilled." Or if you don't sew, you could make 10 kebabs, 10 lamb skewers or whatever, and you could grill them. Delicious. Or you can go get acupuncture, which is a classic way to deal with this card. All of this is what we call sympathetic magic, and it can actually be kind of a lot of fun. Final point. If you're starting out in tarot and you just can't get over the nervousness, go ahead and draw your card at night after your day is done. Then you can see if you can draw connections between what happened over the course of the day and what you see in the card. This will at least help you get started thinking in image and metaphor, and it will take away some of the pressure. What it won't do, though, is offer you the kind of companionship and support that a morning draw gives you as you're living through your day. So, for that reason, I do encourage you, when you're ready, to try and aim to draw your card in the morning. As I said in episode 1, drawing a card is a statement of courage. You're saying, I am willing to face whatever fate has in store for me today. You can learn to manage your anxiety about tarot, like everything else, and the benefits you gain from having ongoing support from the cards are worth it. So I hope that helps you settle your tarot anxiety. Because the thing is, over the long term, you're going to draw all of these cards. In fact, at the rate of one card a day, there's a decent chance you're going to get them all over the course of just 1 year. If you draw 2 cards a day, it's a virtual certainty. And if you keep track of the cards you draw, which I recommend you do, you'll see that over time the cards start to look a lot less scary. For example, personally, I've gotten the tower 117 times over like a couple of decades, and I'm still here. Divination is about not being afraid, which is something you're going to hear me say a lot in this podcast. So, to recap, drawing a card of the day is going to be the way you build your personal, idiosyncratic, weird, and wonderful relationship with your tarot deck. Do it in the morning if you possibly can, and consider it an invitation to look for meaning throughout your day. Keep a record in whatever way is easiest for you, and let me know how it goes. Write to me through the contact form at thetarotpodcast.com, or if you're a Patreon member, and I cannot thank you enough, guys, if you are, you can share your card of the day stories on the Tarot Podcast Discord server. That is our episode for today. Until next time, keep shuffling and don't be afraid to see what's in the cards for you.